Yo, what's up, Oscar? How are you, brother?
No, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great, brother. I'm great, man. Thanks for joining me, man.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, man. So what's been good with you, man?
Not much. I got sick this whole like last week and a half,
Okay.
and yeah, kind of kind of beat me up a little bit, you know.
Okay. So,
But
so, uh, so what exactly happened? It wasn't like Corona related, right?
at least, I mean, I hope not. I didn't get tested for it though. A good friend of mine, she works at a clinic, and she came there and tested me for like your conventional flus,
Okay.
and it wasn't one of those. So it didn't exactly rule out corona. That's the thing. So
Okay.
I don't
But
I
it
don't know
seems like
that.
you're back to good though.
Yeah, like now I feel better now for sure. But like the first couple of days that it got me, the man, I felt horrible.
I mean, plus on top of that, you still been working through all the past couple weeks as well too, right?
Yeah, I'm still working a little bit through it, but just I think was it up until like the first few days that I felt kind of sick. I was still working, and then like as of like the last like four, I haven't done anything. I've kind of been in bed,
Okay. Cool.
like
Cool.
or I've
Well.
been or I've been eating and just sleeping like crazy. But it's
Okay.
been going away quicker
Well, I'm
though.
glad you're feeling better, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
But,
Hey, man. So, I know we've known each other for what, like about like 2 years now. 2 years.
yeah, I think two going on three. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we met at the Old Fortune, correct?
Yeah, the old fortune.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, man, like I still kind of remember like the first day you came in. I was like, usually when new people come in the gym, not that I was like sizing you up, but I was like, oh, like this guy does not look like a newbie because he got all the gear and he had the Nike Hyper KOs and the gear, and I was like, you kind of know if somebody's been around the block or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, man, this kid is sharp, dude. And here we are now, like 2 years later, man. That's crazy.
I know, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I remember my first visit to Fortune actually. I remember I found that on complete accident.
Yeah, because I remember you. I think like you were coming out to LA for a different reason. You were just looking for a gym to kill some time, right?
Yeah. At the time the girl I was with at the time was doing pole dancing,
Right.
and B I think that's the
B
gym's name is
spun, B
called,
spun.
yeah, it was Beast, but it was it was like literally across the street from you guys.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. B spun, B spun. That's been around for a while, man. They're a pretty popular brand in the industry.
yeah, I know. I know that now, but at the time, it's just like we were just coming out of Vegas for just trying to get, just more knowledge up, I guess. And I remember I dropped her off for one, and then I went to I think it was like the little 7-Eleven that was across the street or like next to
Yep.
you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I parked right there, and then I seen the Fortune logo. I was just like, I'm like, looks
Oh,
like the one
really?
I want to
Can you
buy.
see a Fortune logo from there?
There was like a sign up there. I saw something now. I don't remember where
Okay,
I saw
okay.
it, but it was like on a big square bulletin board, or maybe it was in the
Got it, got
parking
it.
lot.
Okay, cool.
But
Well,
yeah, that's
whichever
the
the
only
case,
reason
man,
I
you found
even
us, man.
but that was the only reason I even walked in there though, just because I saw that board. I was just like, I'm like, it looks like a gym. I'm like, I should check it out. And sure enough, I walked in, and I mean, yeah,
The rest is
that
history,
was
man.
the rest is history.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So even though I've known you for about 2 years, and we've had some, pretty good interactions, uh, I've actually never like really sat down and you know uh, asked you about your origin story. So basically, what I want to
Oh,
kind of start off with is, could you just take us back to day one of boxing?
damn! Day one of
Yeah.
boxing. Fuck.
And
Day
just to
one of
kind of give
boxing.
people some context, how old are you now, and what age did you start at?
I started to really learn the sport around the age of 12.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I was a little kid when I started. I started learning it. I want to say, so like my father knew a little bit of it. Never a whole lot to. I mean, he knew it. Never enough to really like teach me though, because he was always working though.
Okay.
I remember because my dad used to go to work from like 4 in the morning, come back like 9 at night. Uh, keep in mind my parents weren't from here, so at the time, I think was like, what was the dollar amount? I think it was like five or $6, if that.
Wow.
So my dad was just like busting like every single day. Like I think it was like a Monday through Saturday, possibly even Sunday thing,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. But point is that my dad was consistently working, right? And I began to get in trouble with school a lot. I mean, I was getting in fights left and right. I was either getting in a fight with somebody, or somebody was getting in a fight with me, or something, or vice versa. But point is, that's what made it spiked like an anger issue in me real quick, kind of like it was like a bad temper I had, and I mean that's what made my parents look for some sort of context. Where at first my mom didn't want me to do boxing though. I know she was trying to get me to do like karate or something.
Okay.
And then my dad was like, no, he doesn't even like it, and I couldn't get into it. And then I couldn't get into it, and then every place that we went to for karate was ridiculous. Was expensive.
Okay. And
So
and is it still in Bakersfield?
now this is in LA.
Oh, okay.
This is
Oh,
still
so
in LA.
you're originally from LA?
Yeah, I grew up on by South Central.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah, I
you
was
weren't like too far from me.
no, I was like right next door.
Got it.
So I was like by South Central, South. We moved around a little bit when we were kids.
Okay.
So, but mainly South Central.
Got it.
And so yeah, like I said, every karate gym that we found was, I mean, it was expensive. Keep in mind, my parents weren't, like I said, my parents weren't making a lot of money. My mom wasn't working either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that being said, where did we go? I don't think we found the gym in LA. I don't think we ever found a gym in LA actually. I think my dad started showing me little stuff around here and there around the house, and I began to carry that with me. And then I want to say when I was about I want to say 14 is when we ended up officially moving here. So those 2 years, I'm just kind of learning the sport here and there, but I'm still continuing the same issues that are still going on left and right.
Got it.
And then once I come here to Bakersfield is when my dad introduced me to this old guy named Pablo. And then this guy knew so many like old tricks, it was ridiculous. Like, I remember like the first 2-3 weeks I didn't hit a bag. Like this guy had me like just like drilling on ropes, just had me shadow boxing for like 3 straight weeks, had me jump roping, everything. Like just trying to mold my body into it, but never actually hit anything.
Couple things. First, that this whole time I was thinking your story was going to end up in and then I ended up going to Broadway boxing. Do you know Broadway boxing?
No, actually.
Okay, Broadway boxing is a very famous boxing gym down in South Central. Actually, a lot of pros came out of there. That was just one little unimportant side note, but that was on my mind. And secondly, in terms of your coach Pablo, that's kind of where I'm trying to take my own training and training my clients back to, which is not so much, hitting the bag and, hitting the pads, which, all of that is important as well too, but, a lot more drill based. And I just feel like that's so much more effective in terms of learning. I was just kind of afraid to do it because I just felt like I would lose clients if I did that.
I feel like I don't know. I mean, personally, that's kind of what I did with some of mine, though. I didn't do it for 3 weeks, though. Personally, I think it would really depend a lot on the person. Don't get me wrong. There are some that sometimes 3 weeks isn't enough, but honestly, for most, usually 2 weeks is usually more than plenty enough for them to get the idea.
Got it.
Or I feel like 2 weeks is kind of like, okay, man, when am I gonna hit something?
Got it.
But because I did that with some of my clients at first.
Okay.
As like where they were still very stiff, so we were just running over drills like 2 weeks to like the same thing, like cables. And the thing is that realistically, to show somebody how to move on a cable properly, it takes a couple hours. It doesn't.
When you say cable, you mean the slip line?
Yeah,
okay,
the slip
cool.
line. Yeah. because I remember Pablo Pablo was very big on balance. He didn't, how to put it. He wanted me to remain aggressive without losing my
Got
footing. That was his biggest thing. I mean, him being like a Hispanic coach, he wanted to, like,
a
like
lot of body shots,
head
a
hard,
lot of left hooks.
a lot of, yeah, a lot of like left hooks, a lot of going forward, kind of. That was like his style,
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are some of my more my better like attributes, I would say, even when it came into sparring. I think for me it's definitely knowing when to press, or when to keep the action going forward, and then pocket fighting along with that left foot. I think those are easily some of my best attributes, but that's something that I picked up from my first coach, though. It wasn't even the ones after that.
Got it.
Like a lot of my coaches after Pablo didn't ever show me any more cable drills anymore.
Okay.
Or if it was any kind of drilling, it was more based off noodles, but it was no longer on cable.
Got it. First he
But
had you like using the slip line, and then he had you doing the similar drills in motion with the noodles.
Correct, yeah. But at first it was everything was on that line.
Got it.
He taught you how to catch with it, how to how to
really?
shift
How
around
do you,
it,
how do you catch with it?
You as you're rolling under, you would raise the opposite palm. So let's say if I'm rolling in, so let's say if I'm stepping towards my right, I would raise my right palm, and then I'd raise up the left where the cable's at, so I could catch, roll under, catch.
Wow! I never thought about that, bro. That is crazy.
Yeah, but that's how he taught. But that's how he taught me how to catch.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I'm gonna definitely try that out right after.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Great tip. Thanks, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Give that one a try. Another one was how to shoot like a jab to a body. He would tell you shoot your jab. You'd have to obviously be looking at the string horizontal though, right? He's like hit the head, which would be the cable, and then when you go to shoot the body, you take your step, you snap your jab, and you make sure that you get your entire body under the cable.
Oh,
just a jab head,
okay, got it.
Body. So that's how you throw that jab and then jab to the body.
Wow, that's so crazy because it sounds so simple once you explain it or once the coach has explained it, but the more and more that I'm getting involved with the sport on both sides of the mitts, I feel like the best teacher is the one that explain things more simply.
Yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. Because I mean, I've had a lot of coaches too, and some of them, you're right. It's the ones that explain it to you that like
it makes sense.
Like they explain it to you with the least amount of like words, and it just makes sense. You're just like, okay. But sometimes I do get curious if that's just the chemistry between you and that person.
That is true too. That is true. Yeah. Because I recently picked up a new coach as well too. New coach. And just the way he explained things, it's stuff that I've seen in the past, but he just gave new perspective and new explanation to why this is important and why this works. You know what I mean? And that's so important. Anyways, yeah. So going back to Coach Pablo, so you did a lot of cable drills. Then you started going into noodles. Then he had taught you how to catch, how to hit the body, and then what else?
How to hit the body, how to roll forward as you're walking, essentially everything. Like he taught you all your fundamentals and all your pivots on cable.
Wow!
Like he showed you how to do everything on cable.
That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy.
So that's what he had me doing for 3 weeks. At first it was
annoying.
It was annoying. Yeah, it was super annoying.
Because you're looking at everybody else, like, yo, they're popping the pads, like, they're banging away on the heavy bag. Yo, when's it gonna be my turn, right?
Yeah, that's all it was. But I was like, man, but it's like, man, it's like, coach, it's been 3 weeks, like, like I kind of want to do something else already.
And so when did he finally let you do something besides needlework and cable work?
I want to say it was it was the day that I snapped on him.
Oh, you snapped on your coach?
Yeah, I mean, because keep us in mind, I'm only like 14.
Got it. And you had some anger issues?
I still had a temper. Yeah, so I was still very arrogant. You know, like now I feel bad for how I acted at the time, but I mean that was me at that age, you know. Not exactly how to put it, because I mean I was the oldest of 3, and my reaction was always to be like, you know, tough. Like, you thinking, oh, oldest, you got to be the toughest. You know, you can't show that you're weak. You know, that's kind of like, it's very
it's like that old school what I call the Latino machismo attitude. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was just, you know, like, you're not, especially as the older, you don't want to show like your younger siblings that you can be weak, right. You know. So that was kind of like the mentality.
And how many siblings do you have?
I have 2. Okay. I was like, I'm the oldest of 3.
Got it. But, and how old are you right now?
I'm 25 now. Okay,
still freaking young.
Yeah, I'm still young. Yeah, so I was like, but I remember I snapped on my coach one day though. Out of like, I think I was just having a bad day. Honestly, I just don't think I was already having it the day that I walked in. And when he snapped, he told me he's like pack your things and go home today. So instead of even just letting me like vent out, he had me grab my shit and I went home. So I was just like, fuck. So now I was just furious, right? And even same thing when I went home, nothing happened. Like, I managed to keep my cool. But when I got back to the gym, he set up sparring. So I was just like, so now I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I get to spar with somebody. And sure enough, that first sparring session, I got so beat up, it was horrible. I was like, I swung for the fences, like everything that he was showing me for 3 weeks just completely went out the door. Like,
so everything. He did this on purpose. Yep. Yeah. So he wanted to show you that you still weren't ready, and I'm trying to get you ready, but you're not listening.
Yeah, essentially.
Got it.
And he basically let me get beat up. And I was just like, fuck. And at this point, I'm just like, man, fuck this. I was over it. Like, you know, I was like, and he's like, this is why I wanted you to wait. He's like, I'm not trying to do anything to you to put you in a position where you're going to get hurt.
Right.
And this is something that my recent coach Ernest was telling me.
And this is psycho boxing?
I'm never gonna. Yeah, this was psycho boxing. It was kind of it. So when Ernest did tell me, it was kind of like, oh shit, like. That it tripped me out a little bit, but I think that's also why me and Ernest had really good chemistry. But I mean, I'll get to that down the road. But yeah, same thing you're telling me is like, I'm not gonna try and get you hurt. You know, he's like, but you do have to listen to me. So, and I think from that day on, I was like, okay, like I think it was enough to definitely definitely humbled me a little, put me in my place. You know, is what it showed me, and then. And then from there, we just built we just built a very good bond after that.
Got it.
You know, I fought a few amateurs. I remember he signed me up for amateurs, and we did a couple of local exhibitions here and there. I remember at the time, like, the being sanctioned wasn't too big of a thing yet. Mm-hmm. It was just like there was USA shows here and there, but I just don't think the rules were as crazy at the time. Because I remember I had my USA book. But I also remember still competing in exhibitions left and right. I remember I think I had done more exhibitions than I had done more amateur shows.
So how
and
so
I was never getting.
So before you officially became a USA boxing amateur, which is pretty recent, correct?
Yeah.
So how many fights did you have before that?
I want to say, how many exhibitions was it? Honestly,
just a rough estimate.
I want to say a good 15.
Wow, okay, that's a good handful, man.
Yeah, it was a good handful. Yeah, it was definitely enough to enjoy the sport. You know, definitely more than enough. And that was just with Pablo too.
And so to fast forward, when did you separate with Pablo, or he left, or you left? I'm not quite sure what happened.
No, Pablo actually passed away in a
Oh
car
man, I'm
accident.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was almost 16. Yeah, because when I had met Pablo, I was 14. Yeah, I was 16 or almost 16, I think. And I remember we came back from a show, and he dropped me off in front of, at the time the gym was in front of a it was like this little shack. And I remember he dropped me off, and I said my goodbyes to him that day, And basically Pablo left. My mom came to get me, and she took me home. So I was like, okay, cool, man. I'm not thinking anything of it, I said bye, whatever. Like, we were like, it was definitely, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely a longer goodbye than usual, though. So I think thankfully I was able to say goodbye to him for the last time. But I never saw him again after that, though. Because the next day, I remember going from school to the gym, and he wasn't there. He never showed up. And I was just like, and I remember then his wife came, and then she was crying, and she was nodding her head, and I asked what's wrong, and she's like, Pablo passed away in a car accident last night. He's not going to come today. Whew. And sure enough, he died. He died he died later in the hospital.
Damn.
From his injuries. But yeah, that was the last time I ever saw him, though. And I was like, shit.
Whew. That's deep, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, it was at the time. It was kind of hard because it's I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't know what you want to call that, like bond issues or what it was. But I remember getting close to Pablo, because at first I remember first I didn't like him, and down the road he taught me so much that I couldn't do anything but thank him anymore.
This type of story is quite common in boxing, and I just feel like having male figures outside of the house that with involved in a sport that is such a daily thing, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty inevitable, you know what I mean? I remember I was watching a documentary with Andrew Ward and Virgil Hunter of how they got together, and he really spoke Virgil like he was like his dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of what they become. They become like your father figures, because they don't. It becomes deeper than boxing after a while. Because you're with them all the time.
And plus, you can't play boxing, bro. You can't play boxing.
You can't play it.
Like when you go in, like this is not like a little league game or a basketball game. Oh, like you missed that layup. No, man, I got clobbered in the head. Like this is a whole different game. You know what I mean? Like it's not a game. It's what it is.
Yeah, but yeah, that kind of put me back to memory lane. But yeah, I remember being really distraught about it, and I remember I was in a pretty bad mood for like the longest, actually. Not like mad, but I was just kind of like upset. Like, I was just like, I remember I wasn't really in the mood to do a whole lot. I was still going to the gym every day, though. Even after he had passed, the gym was still open, so I was still going. But but I wasn't in the same mood. I wasn't in the mood to spar or not wanting to really hit and mix with anyone else. Like I just was not. I just wasn't into it.
Just got to lighten up the mood a little bit. So from that point to when I met you, and then to meet Psycho Boxing, is that the entire gap of your next coach?
Wow. Yes, there was one coach in between all that. Yeah.
So Psycho,
there was
and
one more
there's somebody in between that as well too.
No. It was because it was Coach Pablo, then there was a guy named David, and then it was Ernest, which is Psycho Boxing.
Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we've kind of covered how you got started with boxing, and this show is about sharing stories as well too. But in the midst of sharing the stories, I want to kind of give the audience value, and especially with everything going on these days, and people stuck at home, and boxing's popularity. I thought it was a fad too, but it's every single day it's showing that it's not a fad. There's more trainers, new companies, new inventions, new products. But the question is it possible to learn how to box on your own?
I want to say it is. Now, is it something I would recommend a lot? Most people, not definitely not.
Okay.
I definitely don't think that. How do I put it? Because there is a lot of coaches out there that are self-taught, right? There is a lot of them.
But at the same time, they were going to the gym, though.
But at the same time, they were going to the gym, though. So at some point, someone did have to sit there and show them something, So, is it possible to learn the sport on your own? Most definitely it is, But is it something that I would recommend? Definitely not, because it's just part, like, it's a don't because in this sport the only way to get better is to surround yourself with individuals that are better than you.
Amen, brother. Amen. That is the truth, brother. That is the truth. On both sides of the myth.
Yeah, on both sides. Yeah. So if you're consistently just treating yourself, you're granted you're sharpening your tools, but
but how sharp are you getting though?
How sharp are you getting exactly? Yeah.
So let me switch the question then. I completely agree with you. I've trained with. I've lost count how many people I've trained with by this time, and obviously I like some coaches better than others. But I will say this though, I learned something. I try to take the best of what they have to offer, right? So every coach offers a little something different, that I take away, that I just add to my game, and start building my own toolbox. With that being said, let me switch the question. The boxing industry, and when I say boxing, I mean including fitness as well too, because that's a huge part of our own personal businesses as well. There's so many coaches nowadays. Every trainer is a boxing trainer, right? So your bodybuilding coach is holding pads. Your boot camp person is holding pads. Everybody and their mama are holding pads, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, okay, cool. I could. Yeah, you're right. Because
I'm not trying to shit on nobody. I'm just saying these are just the facts.
Yeah. No, and that's good. It's cool. Yeah, Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
So the question is, how let's break down for the audience. And this is not us trying to sell ourselves to anybody. But how do you go about finding the best boxing coach for themselves? Yeah. So what are some criteria that you would say that the audience should look for when they look for a boxing coach or trainer?
Definitely, I would say the thing that you should look for in a coach, I want to say would definitely be it's actually, it goes down to a few factors.
Okay,
actually.
So break it down.
First things first. Well, because first you got to have that chemistry with that individual, right? Because you can't work with somebody who doesn't like you or who you don't really like either.
That is so true, man.
That's I feel like that's one of the biggest things, like. Granted, my experience was a little different when I was 14, but then again, the times were different too.
Very different.
I wasn't doing it to, and I want to say, and when I was doing it at the time, I wasn't doing it to just get in shape. I was doing it to compete. I wanted to fight. So I didn't. So and then my coach was kind of assigned to me. It wasn't like I had the chance to go out and look like that, So that was. At the time that was my misfortune that became my fortune, but that was a different story. I want to say definitely the second thing you should look for
going
is
back to the chemistry. Now, not I personally offer first session free, but not everybody does that. So would you suggest that if you want to go train with somebody, at least go, go purchase a session with that person first?
I
Okay.
definitely would. Um, I also would tell anybody, don't be closed minded. Like, granted, because like I said, like, because what's the word I'm looking for? Like, because you could work with somebody, right? They could have like this, like
Crazy credentials.
this very these crazy credentials, this very crazy persona, but they may not be the good mix for you.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
You know, and you could find somebody who's, let's say, maybe charges the same, has much fewer credentials, but they sit there and they make sure that you understand your subject.
Right.
Like it's like it's like looking for, it's like, honestly, like looking for a trainer, like looking for a pair of gloves. You got to find the best fit for you.
Yes. I always
You
say
know,
it's kind of like dating,
like,
but same idea.
yeah, same idea. Very similar. Because I've had clients that I've had to tell, look, like, honestly, I don't know if this will work or not. I just feel like, I've said it before. Where I'm like, look, I'm gonna try and show you what I can, and just for you to see if you like my work or not. Like, that's why I like. That's always why I gave the first session free, though. You know, but I try not to do it to where, like, I try not to take too many of them on, especially like if I know I have like my roster full in the
Yep.
mornings already. Like, I won't even push like personal training at that
Got
point. I honestly don't even really
it.
push it. I just kind of post on my work, and that's about it. And if
It's
people
kind of
come,
crazy that you say that because, after all this is said and done, this Corona shit, I'm actually looking to build some classes, man. That's really my next move. Just because sometimes personal training can get a little uh,
it's
it's
draining.
yes, it's
It's physically demanding.
yes, and on top of
You
that,
know.
just stability wise, it can get a little tricky. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I want to have more impact. Obviously, I want to make more money, but I was like, I think a class would be able to, is definitely a great way to do that. The only thing that kind of made me hesitant for a while, I was like, can I teach technique in class? Like, that was one of my biggest things too, because
Oh,
most
yeah.
group classes are just like, let me make them sweat and just run them into the ground, because that's what I feel like most boxing gyms do. You know what I mean? And I was like,
Mhm.
like, I don't want to be another one of those. You feel me? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you you can. Now, is it more difficult? Yes, but you can do
Okay.
it though.
And this
Um,
as a side
and
note, before we go on to what the second thing we should look for in a trainer, what is your take on that?
as far as teaching technique
Yes.
in a class, you can do it. You definitely can, but it is difficult to do, though, because I did this with. I mean, granted, I love the ladies I have in this classroom. Like, don't get me wrong, but if they ever do hear this, and I'm like,
No, no.
I
Hey, I
don't
mean,
want to
no.
think I'm talking shit.
Like, it's nothing. It's just a numbers thing. You can only do the best that you can with what you got. You know what I mean? So it's not no knock on any trainer.
Yeah,
Or client.
yeah. So what I did with this group in particular, it was something that I was kind of testing at the time. It was supposed to just be a women's boot
Got it.
camp, right? And I honestly, and I picked girls specifically for two reasons. Because with guys, there's always that
Of
machismo
course.
thing going on, where like they want to learn from you, and then they don't. Then they're practicing, and then they get mad at you. And it's like, bro, like, come on,
Yeah.
man, like,
Yep.
you're
And
you're,
honestly,
you're being super
honestly,
wishy washy with
honestly,
me.
bro, like, I've been in the training business long enough to know that females are much better clients. They are more coachable. They listen better. They're more consistent. Yeah, just overall, just yeah.
Yeah.
No diss to any of my guy clients.
Oh, yeah. Overall, girls are a pleasure
Yes.
to work with. Sometimes the guys, oh man, you they can be
Yep.
a headache. Unless you get like that, like a guy that's like wanting to really learn from you, or if he's really
Yeah.
young.
It's
But if,
basically all
if
the people
he's
that been
but if
hitting on
he's
what
an
I was
older
screaming for.
cat,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
If
myself,
if
yourself,
yeah,
Mark, John, just
yeah,
everybody that we hang out with.
yeah. Basically, some as people around our age group is not, or even younger is not bad. But once you start training older cats who are like in maybe like their 40s or
Uh-huh.
50s, like that once you get to that age group, they're just kind of like what are you gonna show me kind of thing. And you're
I,
just like,
I
ah,
I
shit.
definitely think there is an
Yeah.
element of that, you know.
Yeah. But my bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So definitely when I did this with my women's class, it was it was more about trying to get them to learn it, because I remember I essentially set it up as a self defense class. Now they never really engaged in sparring because I was still going over technique with them. The thing is that like the process was much slower than I thought it was going to be,
Got
though. It was doable, but it was much slower. Now, and then then the whole Corona thing came around at the
got
moment, and then so everything just kind of like, ah, shit, slowed down like crazy. So hopefully they come back, or
okay,
if they
cool.
don't, then but at the time when I was doing it, though, it was beginning to work, because what you have to do is something like this. Watch. So let's say if you start with a group of like 8 girls, right? If all the 8 girls are learning together, right? You show them technique, cool, and then you get, let's say, a group of 2 girls that comes in. Then you gotta jump them into the mix, but you gotta go back over basics again
Got it.
with everyone. So and then you jump them into the mix, kind of show them the ropes of that technique. Same thing. Then another girl comes in. Okay, go back and redo everything again. But that way you get everybody involved, and that way no one's falling behind. Because if not, you're gonna sit there trying to get one
Right.
group to go, and trying to have one person play catch up, instead of just mixing them together, and just instead of and since they're just learning it, it wasn't a bad thing, because I could rewind just a little bit
Got
every
it.
single time, and I could get everybody
Got it.
caught up.
Okay.
Like, and it was kind of a good thing. Or like, and now let's say if I had the girls hold mitts for each other, let's say if that new girl was like could not hold, or she was brand new, or if, let's say, one of her friends was in the class, either her friend would hold for her and they would work together, or I would work with
Got it.
the new
No,
person that
I
came
see.
in.
I seen that you actually promote your own students holding mitts. At first, I was
Mm-hmm.
not a fan of that, but I was like, actually, I think it's really good. And this is one thing that Muay Thai schools do better than boxing schools. Is it's a lot of like back and forth. Like it's not sparring, but it's kind of like light sparring because they're holding mitts for each other, or they're doing like glove drills. And I just feel like that brings a new element of reality versus mitts. And the other thing about holding mitts is, I don't know if most people thought about it like this, but mitts is really, they say catching for a reason, right? Like you're catching punches, right? So I feel like it makes
Yeah.
you such a better a defensive boxer, even on the fitness level.
No, yeah, certainly, because it begins to
Right.
make you alert. Because you're starting to see the combination for what it really is. You're just like, oh shoot, it's here and here and here, and now you're becoming aware of your body. You're becoming aware of where everything's coming from.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So going back on track, so first you want to look for chemistry in that trainer, and you would suggest that they go take a class with them, but still be open minded. What's the second one?
Let me see here. Definitely, I want to say it would definitely be the
Okay.
patience in the coach. Just because I have seen it a lot where I've seen some
Oh
coaches lose their
wow.
temper very easily. You know, um, and you do have to find someone that is essentially, you do got to find someone that can
Of
put up
course.
with you a little bit. I mean, and that's honestly you have, because you have to know how you are. You know, you have to know. I mean, obviously after a couple tries, you know, or maybe even after one, I would definitely say try going from, because I always recommend everybody this at first. I'm like, look, because that's always why I give the first session for free, especially if I'm being told like, hey, like I'm just trying out a few different places. I just
Yep.
want to see what you can teach me, and I'm just like, okay, come on in. Like I'll show you what I can and can't do,
Got
and what I will and won't do. You know,
it.
so
It's
if
basically
you
like
want to learn, just
let's
come
go
in. I'm
on
like,
a date. Let's go on a date and see what's up.
but yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would, and even then, I would even recommend them more like speed dating. Like kind of give it a try here, give it a try there. Like try. I always tell you, but go try everything first, and then see what you like, and then if you want to come
Got it.
back here, then you can
So
come to me.
chemistry,
But
patience.
I definitely, chemistry, the patience. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
one is the budget. You know, definitely check your rates, just because like I have seen a lot of trainers charge a ridiculous amount of money
Man,
for something that's very
no,
simplistic,
I feel like, like,
and
I
then
mean,
I've
in
also seen some.
LA, like me
Yeah.
personally, like I know a lot of trainers that charge like ridiculous amounts of money. I think the most I've ever heard, I am not going to name names, is like 250, like 250 an hour. Yeah, like 250 an hour.
Damn.
100 to 150, fairly normal, fairly normal. Now simplicity, I try not to judge, what they're charging for the simplicity of what they're teaching, because I feel like if they're really great at teaching simple, and it's being effective and they're producing the results that they want, they're really paying for the knowledge and the experience, which I totally get, you know.
That's true.
But
Mm-hmm.
the way I see pricing is the market decides what they're worth, and if people are paying it, then obviously people think they're worth that money. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at that. Yeah, but yeah,
That's true.
definitely check your rates.
Oh man.
What do you think is too expensive?
Oh man. I mean, I would definitely say it depends on the city at this point, because here in Bakersfield, if you're charging like, shoot, I mean, most I think in shape here in Vegas was considered expensive, and I think
For
they
the month?
charge like 75, and we're just like, oh,
Okay, got it.
no, for like a session, and like if we're talking like personals, people think that's a lot. So most people here on average charge around like an average of, like, I want to say $30 to about
Wow,
like eighty
because in
dollars,
LA,
like
that's
at
like
most.
probably like roughly around the starting point. Yeah, 75 is like
Oh
usually
shoot,
like
okay.
just pretty baseline pricing. Yeah. Yeah. But yes, definitely
Okay.
check your pricing.
Yeah, so yeah,
And so
it's
how
definitely,
would you
yeah,
gauge,
definitely the budget,
like
man.
how would you gauge whether, whether that pricing is they're worth that money? Do you have kind of like a guide for that, or is it just kind of like a gut feeling, or what you're willing to pay for? What are your thoughts on that?
I that's why I would say taking the free trials is where I
Okay.
would, take advantage of that. Like I would say, okay, like let's say if you're interested, and let's say and I think I want to, but I want to, what, I should have said this point first. I would definitely say check to see what their feed is like, because I mean, now everyone
Yes.
posts everything on social media anyway. You know, like there's no, or by word of mouth. Like you have to see what, if people have recommended this individual left and right or not. Like obviously, if you're coming up, that's going to be it's obviously much more
Yes.
difficult because you don't have that yet. So you
Of
still have to
course.
somewhat pay your dues first. But let's say if you've already paid them, right, and now people are debating whether to work with you or not, you have to, let's say if I was that consumer, I'm like, okay, I got to see whether this individual is
Of
going to be
course.
worth my time or not. Like, is he going to is he going to go that extra mile to show me what I want to learn, or is he going to go that extra mile to make sure
So
that I get the results
how
I
do you
want?
know whether,
And
so if, let's just say, there's customer A, or prospect A, and they don't know anything about boxing, right? So they're like, okay, cool. I tried out 3 trainers. They all kind of seem decent. I get along with all of them. Like, what am I looking for if you don't know anything about boxing? So let's just say they
I
all made you
mean,
sweat. They were all patient, all had great chemistry. The rates matched, you know. So what's going to be the deciding factor? And I'm like a total boxing newbie.
damn, if you're a complete newbie, I mean, at that point, I would have to render it out to probably like I don't know, probably the weirdest thing. I would say maybe like
Mm.
location would be one of them. Um, the gym
Oh yeah,
itself
that's
is
huge
another
too,
one.
man. That's very
At,
huge.
at, at, yeah, at that point, it would be more factors outside the coach. It's like, okay, is the area look convenient for me? Is
Mm.
the gym convenient for me? Do I
Oh,
like
that's
do I
so
like
important,
the
man.
gym?
Because I've been to some
You know?
gyms like, like you know, Wild Card is so local for me, and bar none, I think it's very fair to say Wild Card is the most famous gym in the world where people are willing to travel from across like oceans and countries and
Oh,
continents, right?
well, yeah, yeah, most
You couldn't pay me to
yeah,
go there,
most
bro.
definitely. But I
you know?
but but yeah, but I remember even the first time I stepped inside a wild card. Oh man, I was just like, oh shit, like it wasn't like a warm
It
welcome. It
felt a
was just
little
like
cold,
oh
man. It
fuck,
felt a
this is
little
like the
cold, to be
doghouse.
honest.
Yeah, because it's a doghouse. It's what it is. It like wild card is a
Yeah,
doghouse. They
yep.
have
That's
nothing
very
but animals in
animal,
there.
animal,
You know,
animal.
like yeah, you have nothing but animals in there. And you're like, oh fuck. And that was my first
Yeah,
experience out of wild
man.
card.
And but
I
when
was
I
just
went to
like, oh
Fortune, I was like,
shit.
like this feels right, bro. This feels right. And like that feeling has never changed for me,
Yeah,
bro.
like when and I think that's why I didn't go to wild card because I remember that day I was gonna go. I remember that day
God.
I was supposed to go to wild card actually,
Mm.
and I didn't go, and that's and I found the Fortune gym and I found the Fortune gym instead, and I liked it, and I was oh that's cool. It was
It
super neat.
wasn't
It
as
was like
busy. It wasn't as
just it
crowded.
was
Like
like
people weren't, sizing you up and dogging
yeah
you out. And
yeah it was real home, and so I was just like you know what this is cool. Like I like this here. So that's that, and that's why I stuck around since then because it was just like no, it's perfect. Like there was no need for me. I
God,
didn't feel the need to look for anything else. You know, that's all. That's at the time. That's all I
good
was really looking
man.
for.
That's
Something
a
more
great
home.
list of how to find a great
You
box
know.
trainer, man. Because I certainly want to give value to listeners. Two more things before you go, man. Number one, what is your end goal with this, bro? With this whole boxing thing, like you as a fighter, a coach, a trainer, like do you have a bigger vision? What's the vision, bro?
I mean, definitely the vision is not to
Okay.
get rich off of this. It's definitely to just to kind of pass on
Okay.
what was given to me. You know, to essentially to pass the torch down. Because because I don't have any kids of my own. You know, like and so therefore and so. Oh, I don't have any immediate family
Yo,
that enjoys the sport the
I
way I
remember
do.
you brought your cousin
So
down that one
so for
time.
me at the oh I mean yeah but I mean I did my nephew but even then he's
Got
15
it. Got it.
and I'm already showing him though you know but I meant like by
Got it.
immediate family I meant like my brothers or my sisters or my mom and dad you know like no one's really as into it as I am at this point
Cool.
you know like so what I'm wanting to do with this is just something to build something that can get that to where I can remain established for myself you know something that'll set me
Got it.
on the right foot for my future, but something to where I can also begin to still teach the same things that were taught to me at a young age because I've
Mm.
already gotten kids out of
Wow, that's
trouble,
awesome, man.
you know, like so that for me is if that for me
Mm.
is a very nice feeling because I mean I
Right.
understand them I've already been there, you know, I've already been
Mm.
a troubled teenager I've already been in trouble like you know um or something a place to
Mm.
show young women how to defend themselves. Now you're just young,
Yep.
older women too. It doesn't matter. A
I
woman
saw I saw
should
I
know how to
saw a
defend
video of
herself.
you training this one a little bit older lady than you normally train. You were super patient with her. I don't remember what her name
Mm-hmm.
was, but yeah, man, I thought that was really cool, man. Because I think a lot of trainers would have gotten a little impatient or whatever, but you were super patient, man. Just like you said, bro. Dope.
Yeah.
And lastly, this is kind of like more like a fun topic for us to end on. Give me. I talked to you know who Inner Strength is, Coach Jorge. Yeah.
I think
So
so.
he was
Yeah, I
actually
think I've heard
on the
of him
podcast
actually.
yesterday, and we're talking about mitt work. Who are your top 5 favorite pad holders on Instagram? Like the people that you really enjoy watching hold the pads, man. This is regardless of um, training pros and being famous or whatever. Like just purely who you love to watch.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't want to sound like a fanboy. Your
Wow,
pad
thank
work
you,
is one of
man.
the ones I've enjoyed
This was
seeing.
not a setup, by the way.
Then,
Yeah, but thank you, though. Appreciate it, brother. Hello, you there, bro? Oh, cool.
Hello. It's cut off. Hey, hello?
Yep.
Oh, my bad. I wasn't sure if it cut off or not. My bad. My reception ain't exactly the greatest.
No worries.
Let me see. Yeah, I believe it's Escobar. I can't remember what his name is though.
You know what? That Escobar is definitely high on a lot of people's list, bro. Yeah, that was number 1 for Coach Jorge as well too. Yeah.
Yeah, Escobar. Let me see here. Hold on, because there's a few that I like to watch. Hold on. I mean, another one I would say would be would have been my coach, just because like I've always enjoyed the strategy he has behind his pad work. It's always been very like,
Pablo or Ernest? Pablo or Ernest?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, he's not. He
I was
doesn't
watching
have.
a couple of videos. I saw a lot of noodle work. I didn't really see much pad work, so maybe I might have missed a video.
Yeah, I mean, it's he doesn't have a whole lot up there, but there is some stuff up there that is kind of nice to watch.
Okay.
Let me see. Who could I name for fourth? I don't have a lot of people that I really watch, honestly.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I have to really look for people right now, but
yeah, I mean, you know what it is, man. I don't blame you, bro, because I think we're just so busy trying to build our own empires. Nothing against nobody else,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But we're just so busy trying to do our own thing, busy creating our own content, so that completely makes sense. And I keep saying 2 more things. This is literally 2 more things. Number 1, what are your thoughts on traditional pad work versus Mayweather pad work?
I want to say Mayweather pad work is definitely very different. Just because it's, how do I put it? Oh, that would have been another way. Floyd Mayweather Senior's pad work, that would have been another one. Yeah. But definitely.
Yep. Well, I mean, even between those two, there's a difference. But we can maybe talk about that next time.
But I want to say, I would definitely say Mayweather's pad work is, how do I put it? I mean, it's more fight based. It's more reaction based. It's not because he already knows his father's network. And it's not even. It's like a lot of like pity pat punches, but the reason they're like that is because he's trying to get his body to react to a movement.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that teaching that to a beginner is helpful?
I want to say yes. For not necessarily not, and I wouldn't say all the time. I would say you have to keep someone who's new on conventional mitts. You said you have to give them a small mix.
Mm-hmm.
Just definitely conventional, just because it's still fundamentally.
Oh, did you say small mitts?
Huh?
Did you say for beginners you should use smaller mitts? Is that what you said?
Oh no. I meant like conventional mitt. Sorry, like the more like traditional style mitt work. Sorry.
Got it. Like your 1-2s, 1-2-3s.
Yeah.
Like not in like flow like.
Yeah, I would say you can flow them from time to time, but definitely not make it a habit. Yeah, because the thing is that with pity punches like that is that they're not properly executed. With more functional mitts, you're focused on the punch itself. So I would say give them a mixture. I would say still keep them functional, but keep them moving at the same time. So or that's kind of what I like to do. I like to break down I like to give them even if it means give them a couple seconds longer in between. give them a few seconds in between,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Got it.
especially, and then eventually build up the pace, you know, and then build up the movement. But at first, definitely keep them on the conventional side.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. And very lastly, um, you know, what has boxing taught you, and what's like what is one mantra that you carry with you that helps you through life?
Damn. Okay, this is gonna be this is a hard one. Oh, not really. It's a long message. Uh,
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, number one, I'm not paying for studio time. I'm in my living room. You know what I mean? So you can take as long as you want, bro.
I mean, definitely don't ever give yourself a reason to quit, you know? I mean, once you've started, like, I feel like once you've endured, you know, something.
And this is not even necessarily boxing, just anything in life.
Just anything in life, yeah. I feel like just once you've endured what's difficult, everything else is much easier, you know? Like, once you've gone through, like, your struggle, like, achieving stuff, achieving small victories at the day is not, they're more meaningful, you know. So I would definitely I would definitely tell everybody, just definitely keep going. Don't ever stop believing in yourself. That's definitely the first thing. It's like, don't ever sell yourself short, you know. That's definitely one thing I tell even my teenagers is, don't ever sell yourself short.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just, you know, a lot of people might want to play this off as, oh, like, you know, you just tell me another meme or whatever. Like, no, like, you know, like, it's not about what you say, but, you know, with people that really mean it, like, they say this because there's a story behind it. There's life experience behind what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? Versus just a meme like that you post on Instagram or whatnot. Yeah, that's definitely something to carry with us, man.
Mm-hmm.
And very lastly, God, I should probably stop saying that. What is there something that I didn't ask you that you would like to say?
Um,
Anything doesn't
I'm
matter.
trying to think. No, I think everything was pretty much pretty much out there at this point. Yeah,
Okay,
if I
cool.
could just, you know, recommend anything to anyone at this point is, it's just remember that we work too hard to not give ourselves the credit that we deserve, you know. That's
Ooh, that is fire, bro. That, I mean, whew, I I I think a lot of us struggle with that. I know I
you know,
certainly do.
that's definitely one thing I had learned from the sport, is that, because there was times where I would train super hard and I lose, and I would be or I would lose, but the only reason I lost is because I lost my self confidence in myself right before I went in. You know,
Oof. And what triggered that?
it's something that I feel like that it's gonna happen to anybody at some point. You know, and it's not necessarily me being like weak minded or anything. It's just from time to time, like, you're like, you do cloud your mind with doubt. You're like, what if I can't beat this guy? What if he beats me? What if this? What if this? And you begin to think about it so much that you defeat yourself. You know, I was like, and that's definitely
Got
one thing I always tell my students is, like, don't ever doubt yourself. You train too hard, and to not give yourself the credit that you deserve. Like, it's one thing if you go on the fight with confidence and you lose. At that point, if you lost, you know, take it like the man you are, and we'll move on to the next one. It's just a lesson learned, you know. But
Yep.
if you are training ridiculously hard and you beat yourself up afterwards, what's the point? You know, at that point, you're
Yeah.
just train, but you're not giving yourself the confidence that you deserve. You know.
Take your losses like a man and move
Yeah,
on to the next.
basically. So that's definitely what I would tell. Is what I would tell anybody is, you know, don't ever discredit yourself. Give yourself the credit that you deserve, especially if you know you're working hard.
Yes, sir. Well, Oscar, thanks for your time.